subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class. Avenues birds, designed around flight, bullet, high metabolic rate, feathers, parental care, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class. Avenues birds, note the fossil Archaeopteryx. This is a bird, and/or dinosaur. Note how many reptilian characteristics it possesses and how many bird characteristics it possesses. Some refer to birds as simply glorified reptiles. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class. Avenues birds, subphylum, Craniata, super. Class, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Cajuariiformes emus and cassowaries. This emu is a member of the subclass, Ratidae. These are primitive, flightless birds that have no keel to the sternum. They have small wings and no stiff contour feathers, but they have long powerful legs that they use to run from predators or defend themselves against predators. Emus are from Australia, as is its cousin the cassowary. A distant relative is the rhys of South America, and a more distant relative is the best known representative, the ostrich of Africa. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Galliforms quails, grouse, pheasants, and domestic chicken. These birds can fly but rarely do unless provoked. This is our most important bird economically in terms of food. What non-food items do birds in general provide us? Sierra sooty grouse, red jungle fowl, California quail, ring-necked pheasant, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Anseriformes ducks and geese, Canada goose, mallard duck, wood duck, bufflehead, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Anseriformes ducks and geese. Note the webbing on these aquatic birds, front 3 toes webbed, back toe not. Compare with grebes, pelicans, coots, shorebirds, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Anseriformes ducks and geese. One unusual duck is the merganser. Unlike most of its relatives who use their bills to sift food particles, the merganser actively hunts for small fish, male, female, common merganser, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Gaviiformes loons. Note the webbing on the toes of this aquatic bird and compare with pelicans, ducks, coots, shorebirds. Note the position of the legs. Loons are not able to walk on land. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Podicipidiformes grebes. Note the webbing on this aquatic bird. See the pelican, duck, coot, shorebirds. Note the position of the legs, making this a primitive bird. The absence of ordinary tail feathers is another distinguishing characteristic. Western grebe, pied-billed grebe, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Ciciniiformes includes herons and egrets. These tall and slender wading birds have long pointed bills. Note the long and slender toes. Note the slight webbing on these birds. The webbing is not used for swimming as in the grebes, pelicans, ducks, shorebirds, and coots. What is the webbing for? Great egret, great blue heron, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Pelicaniformes pelicans and cormorants. These are the pelicans, cormorants. This group is characterized by a naked pouch suspended from the mandible and upper part of the throat. They are known for diving for fish in shallow waters and scooping them up with their pouch. The cormorant is a deep diver for fish, but it actually chases the fish underwater. Double-crested cormorant, brown pelican, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Pelicaniformes pelicans and cormorants. Note the webbing on the foot of this cormorant, all 4 toes connected by webbing. Note, too, the direction the toes are pointed. Compare with grebes, ducks, coots, and shorebirds. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Falconiformes hawks, eagles, kites, and falcons. Red-tailed hawk, bald eagle. These are our diurnal birds of prey. Note the talons and hooked beak. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Falconiformes hawks, eagles, kites, and falcons. Peregrine falcon, American kestrel, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Gruiformes rails, and coots. Note the toes on this aquatic bird. Compare with grebes, ducks, pelicans, and shorebirds. Sora, American coot, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Charadriiformes A, diverse group of shorebirds including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. These are the shorebirds, a diverse group including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. Note the webbing on these aquatic birds, compared to grebes, ducks, pelicans, and coots. Note the webbing on these aquatic birds, see the grebe, ducks, pelicans, coots. Palmate, semipalmate, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Charadriiformes 8 diverse group of shorebirds including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. California, gull, Kierman's gull, ruddy turnstone, killdeer, lambrel, forester's tern, least sandpiper, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Charadriiformes 8 diverse group of shorebirds including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. On display is an example of the differences between juvenile and adult birds. Note that there are two gulls. Both are ringbill gulls, however, the bird on the right is immature while the one on the left is an adult. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Charadriiformes 8 diverse group of shorebirds including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. On display is an example of the differences between juvenile and adult birds. Note that there are two gulls. Both are western gulls, however, the mottled gray-brown specimen is an immature bird while the white and gray specimen is an adult. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Columbiformes pigeons and doves. Before cities, this introduced European species nested on cliff ledges. Being a seed eater, they probably first became associated with farmers raising grain and then later associated with the concentration of these grains in cities. Rock dove, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Columbiformes pigeons and doves. Mourning dove, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Columbiformes pigeons and doves. Band-tailed pigeon, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Columbiformes pigeons and doves. Note the fleshy operculum, characteristic of columbiformes on this European wood pigeon. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Strigiformes owls. These are the nocturnal birds of prey. The feathers are very soft. This reduces noise as they fly at night. Owls are nearly silent flyers. The barn owl, pictured here, is considered different enough from the other owls that it is sometimes put in its own family within the order Strigiformes. It has a distinct owl or dish-like face. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Strigiformes owls. Western screech owl, great horned owl. Note the arrangement of owl toes. This arrangement with digits 1 and 4 pointing backwards and digits 2 and 3 pointing forward is called zygodactyl. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Apridiformes hummingbirds and swifts. This order includes the smallest bird in the world, the bee hummingbird native to Cuba. What is especially critical for and unusual about being warm-blooded and small? Bee hummingbird, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Apridiformes hummingbirds and swifts. Rufous hummingbird, Anna's hummingbird, a few California hummingbirds, Calliope hummingbird, Costas hummingbird, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Pisciformes woodpeckers and flickers. Note the arrangement of their toes. These are called zygodactyl toes. The two outer toes, digits 1 and 4, are pointed backwards, and the two inner toes, digits 2 and 3, are pointed forward. The tail is stiff and strong and is often used as a support when clinging to tree trunks, forming a tripod. Lewis woodpecker, subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order. Pisciformes woodpeckers and flickers. Acorn woodpeckers, subphylum, class, avenues, order. Passeriformes perching birds. Rhyniata, superclass, Gnathostomata. These are the perching birds. Ever seen a duck sitting on a telephone line? Or a pelican? Most birds fall into this category. This order contains about half of all living species of birds. American crow, house finch, Bewick's wren, white-crowned sparrow, northern mockingbird. Sexual dimorphism. These two birds are Brewer's blackbirds, common on this campus. The darker, glossier feathered individual is the male, and the duller, browner individual is the female. Why is this so? Sexual dimorphism. Another campus example is the house sparrow. The male has a black bib, and the female lacks the bib and has duller colors. Sexual dimorphism. Here is another example of sexual dimorphism. Many of our ducks exhibit sexual dimorphism. The male is brightly colored, while the females are dull brown. The females are brown to be cryptic as they sit on and incubate the eggs. Many female ducks are brown and difficult to identify as they all look alike. Sometimes, the only way to tell what species it is to see her next to her mate, who is brightly colored. Harlequin duck, reverse sexual dimorphism. Normally, the male is larger than the female. In some birds of prey, the females are larger than the males as seen in these examples of accipiters or smaller hawks. The advantage of this is that the male and female are not competing for food, since each is seeking food, mice and small birds, proportional to their size. In addition, the species has a much broader feeding niche. Sharp-shinned hawk, Cooper's hawk, male-female male-female. What can you note from the skeleton that is similar as well as different from a human? Avian skeleton, bird skeleton diagram. This is to supplement the bird skeleton diagram in figure 8.51 in Van de Graaff and Crawley. You are responsible for the bones in names in Van de Graaff and Crawley. If names differ, use Van de Graaff and Crawley. Convergent evolution. This is one of the most powerful and persuasive arguments for the forces of evolution. If there are two similar habitats in different parts of the world, completely different taxa will evolve to look and act similarly. The hummingbirds in the Americas have an equivalent in the sunbirds of Africa. The western and eastern meadowlarks, Icteridae, of the grasslands of North America have an equivalent in the grasslands, Serengeti plains of Africa in the form of longclaws. Both meadowlarks and longclaws have mottled brown backs and bright yellow breasts with a large black V. Both birds turn away from intruders to show their cryptic backs. Both flick their tails open and shut as they walk and display their white outer tail feathers when flying away from a threat. This is one of the most powerful and persuasive arguments for the forces of evolution. If there are two similar habitats in different parts of the world, completely different taxa will evolve to look and act similarly. The hummingbirds in the Americas have an equivalent in the sunbirds of Africa. The western and eastern meadowlarks, Icteridae, of the grasslands of North America have an equivalent in the grasslands, Serengeti plains of Africa in the form of longclaws. Both meadowlarks and longclaws have mottled brown backs and bright yellow breasts with a large black V. Both birds turn away from intruders to show their cryptic backs. Both flick their tails open and shut as they walk and display their white outer tail feathers when flying away from a threat. Altricial and precocial birds. These baby ducklings are precocial. They are feathered when hatched, can see, can walk and feed themselves soon after hatching. This is unlike their passerine cousins, who are altricial. Robin babies are naked when hatched, cannot feed themselves, etc. Adaptations of bird beaks. Bird feet, Part 1. Bird feet, Part 2. Feathers, vein, shaft, quill, feathers, down feathers, body contour. Feathers, flight feathers, bristles, feathers, eggs, mostly birds, giant elephant bird, Aepyornis maxi. Mews egg. The giant elephant bird, native to Madagascar, is the largest bird that has ever lived. They were around 3 meters tall and weighed up to 450 kilograms, 1,000 pounds. They went extinct around 1640. The egg of this species is the largest known bird egg. Its bulk is 15 times larger than an ostrich egg and 10,000 times larger than a hummingbird egg. The original egg that this was cast from was 33 centimeters, 13 inches long and 23 centimeters, 9 inches wide. The size of this model is reduced a little due to the casting process. This particular egg is perfect, with no holes and no cracks, only one of perhaps a dozen like it ever found, and this is thought to be the largest and most complete. Donated to the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History in 1917 by Caroline Hazard and Roland G. Hazard, the original still resides in their extensive Ulogy collection. Kiwi, Apteryx mantelli, Mo, Dinornis robustus, elephant bird, Epiornis maximus, the Endangered Species Gallery. The birds here are protected as endangered or threatened by the Endangered Species Act passed in 1973. Without this protection, most of these would be extinct today. Here is the stated purpose of the ESA quoted directly from the text of the Act. The purposes of this Act are to provide a means whereby the ecosystems upon which endangered species and threatened species depend may be conserved, to provide a program for the conservation of such endangered species and threatened species, and to take such steps as may be appropriate to achieve the purposes of the treaties and conventions set forth in subsection A of this section. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass. Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, falconiforms, hawks, eagles, kites, and falcons. California condor, Gymnogyps californianus endangered. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Charadriiformes, 8 diverse group of shorebirds including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. California least tern, Sternantillarum brownie endangered. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Passeriformes perching birds. California gnatcatcher, Polyoptila californica, endangered. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Anseriformes ducks and geese, aka Hawaiian goose, Brantus andvicensis, endangered. The Extinct Species Gallery. Many species of birds have been driven to extinction by human activity in recent times. The birds here are a small sample of recently extinct species. In recent times we have lost over 20% of all species of birds, including the most abundant bird that has ever existed on Earth, passenger pigeon. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Columbiformes pigeons and doves. Passenger pigeon, Ectopistes migratories extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Columbiformes pigeons and doves. Dodo, Rapus cuculatus extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Charadriiformes, 8 diverse group of shorebirds including gulls, sandpipers, and plovers. Great auk, extinct. Penguinus, Impenus. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Gruiformes rails, and coots. Wake Island rail, order Gruiformes. Galeralis wakensis, extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Falconiformes hawks, eagles, kites, and falcons. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Gruiformes cranes, rails, and coots. Chatham rail, Galeralis mostus extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Psittaciformes parrots, macaws, budgies, cockatoos. Carolina parakeet, Colmuropsis carolinensis extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Pisiformes woodpeckers and flickers. Ivory-billed woodpecker, Campephalus principalus extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Anseriformes ducks and geese. Labrador duck, Camtorhicus labradorius extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Anseriformes ducks and geese. California flightless sea duck, Chendites lawi extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Passeriformes perching birds. Stevens Island wren, order Passeriformes. Xenacus leali extinct. Subphylum, Craniata, superclass, Gnathostomata, class, avenues, order, Dinornithiformes moas. South Island giant moe, Dinornis robustus, extinct.